Hello there and welcome to Natural Stone Systems TV. I am Fan Norman and today we're going to show you how to put together a seam. What we've got here is we've got a couple of seams, and the one thing that I'm not going to show you is when you're putting a seam together, the key to having a good looking seam is you need to spend the time to properly level it. So any lips that you feel are going to be lips that you're going to feel after you glue it. So that's key right there, and so that's something that you need to spend some good quality time doing when you're putting your pieces of granite together. Spend the amount of time necessary to make sure that everything is closed up and all of your lips are out of it. Now, in these two right here, I'm going to show you how to put them together, and this is the video that we're going to do today. But the next video that we're going to do with these pieces is we are going to surface polish them. So I've got a little bit of a lip in this one, so we're going to put these together, see what they look like. There's a bigger lip in this one, and then in the next video we're going to surface polish them. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to run tape down both sides of the seam. Now I personally like using knife grade polyester the best to put my seams together with. And the reason why I like knife grade is because it stays in the seam and keeps the seam full. You know, we've experimented at times and done and put flowing in. The hard part about the flowing is that even if you have the tiniest gap in your seam, the flowing can run through, and polyester tends to, it doesn't tend to shrink, it does shrink. So after it runs down, you'll have a little bit of a valley in your seam, so that later on, and you'll see this in a part of the phase of addressing your seams. If you've got a valley, you can't shave it down, and your seam's not going to feel as good. So here's what I've got. Let me do this side one more, and I'm going to show you. I like running 2 layers of tape, because polyester shrinks about 7%. So when I do this, when the glue gets hard and it shrinks, when it pulls itself down, it doesn't pull it down past the level of the deck. So what I've got here is the first layer of tape that I put on there. I hold it maybe 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch away from the seam. And on the next layer, I'll hold it back even a little bit more. Okay? So with the layers of tape, we've probably got, I'm going to guess, maybe, light 16th. That's a 32nd. So anyway, so now we're going to take that and do the same thing on seam number 2. And it's not critical that that's super close. The reason why this is an important part of the process is because it facilitates cleaning up. Cleaning up is just 1,000 times nicer if you don't get glue everywhere. Okay. So what we've got here is a knife grade polyester adhesive. This is Impala black. So I'm going to mix a little bit of black. Let's see here, 1, 2. We're going to mix our color in. Then we're going to mix our hardener. Okay. Mix that up nice and good. Then what I do is I kind of pull the glue up the side of the cup, so that when I pull my knife out, I get kind of a long bit of goop on there, and I'll just kind of drag it out so that I can use this popsicle stick and force that glue down. Okay. Do the the same thing on seam number 2. That one is awful. I'm curious to see how that one turns out. But we will all see it together. Okay. Now, that's something you're just going to want to be careful of. You need to make sure that you get enough glue in there. So what I'll do is, when I'm at that point, you know, I'll take a razor blade and see if I can get it down in there. And I can't really on that one. Oh, you can, there's a little spot. Just make sure that you've got good adhesive penetration into your seams. You need to make sure, because sometimes that granite is pretty warped. And when it's warped like that, and you're trying to flex it to get your seams to line up and make everything good, you can, you'll put a little bit of stress on that. Okay, we're going to pull that one off. And I'll show you what they both look like. Okay, so all I did was I ran I shoved all the glue down in there. The tape kept everything nice and clean. There's seam number, I guess that should be number 1. We'll keep that consistent for you. Well, we are back. And we are going to test our first seam. So one of the things that we want to make sure of is we just want to make sure that the glue is hard enough so that when we scrape it, we want, that's still just a tiny bit tacky. Okay? And if it's tacky, it's going to kind of pull it out of the seam. So I'm going to show you a bad spot. Let's let that get a little jacked up right there. Okay? And then we'll get a close-up on that. Let's see here. Right through here. If I start to get at it a little bit too soon, what it does is the glue gets pulled out of it because it's not hard enough. So it kind of balls up and pulls it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of heat to that. Kind of cook that just a little bit more. Make sure that that glue is nice and hard. I'm going to start with a new razor blade. And we're just going to start scraping that down. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that when I come across the seam, I don't want to come this way so that the blade can dig into the seam. I want it to be at an angle. Nasty spot. Well, if you do get a nasty spot like that, what you can do is mix a little bit more glue. I'm going to grab another razor blade. Mix a little bit more glue. And just kind of touch your seam up again. Okay, perfect. So I'll give you a close-up of that. I'm going to take some steel wool. I'm going to take some steel wool and wipe that down. And there you go. I'll give you the close-up of the seam. Okay, so we started off like that. We scraped it down, and that's what a seam looks like. Again, I'm Than Norman. This has been Natural Stone Systems TV, and today we've taken a look at how to put a seam together. So the steps were first, clean the surface. Actually, first, level your pieces out. Make sure that you've got no lips in it. The second thing is clean your surface. Third thing is put 2 layers of tape down. After you put the tape down, use a knife grade polyester adhesive that you've color matched to your glue. Shove it down into your joints, pull your tape, let your glue get hard, and then take a razor blade and shave it down. And then to get some of the little tiny fissures in the glue from little scrapes from the razor blade, take a piece of 3/0 or 4/0 steel wool, work your seam, and you've got a seam. I'm Than Norman. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming to Natural Stone Systems TV and looking at our episodes here. Join us next time for surface polishing.